Hi, this is Beverly Meaux with the Bev Bob Homes team with Keller Williams. I am so excited because I'm bringing something unique to you today. I am stopping by a few of our home buyers, checking in on them, and asking them some questions. Well, a lot of questions. I'm interviewing them about the home buying process, and they're going to be giving a lot of insight, their personal perspective.
Okay, guys, so you bought your home.
Yeah.
Now you're in. So now you're giving other home buyers tips and things that they should do or maybe not do or lessons learned. So let's talk a little bit about the biggest lesson learned on buying a house.
So our biggest lesson learned was to ask for previous claims against the house, and that way you can get a sense from your insurance or from whoever you use as your insurance broker, I guess, and to kind of get a sense of what's happened to the house and and insurance things that you might want to add into your insurance just for future in the future. So that's essentially it. That was I would say is the biggest lesson learned for us.
And even though there's a disclosure statement, the previous claims report will tell you things that maybe the buyer forgot to disclose. So it's definitely something that's good to know as a little bit of due diligence on the house that you're about to buy. I thought that we learned some things from it.
Yeah.
I wish we had learned more from it. But, it is it was definitely a very good tool that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
That the broker mentioned to us.
Yeah.
So you had the seller's disclosure, and then you had the home inspection, and then you would add the insurance claims.
Yeah, and it's
That's
just
kind
a
of
request.
just
It's just a request because you're going to need to get insurance for the house. So you can say, oh, can you look at past claims? And I guess some brokers do that no matter what. Because she volunteered that information, and then she said, oh, there were 3 claims, I think, in the past couple of years. So what was good is we got that report, and then we sent it to the seller's real estate agent, and then they got us some answers in terms of what happened.
Yeah, and then it kind of gives you a sense of how long, in how long intervals the claims have been processed,
And the amounts of the
and
claims.
the amount of the claims. So it really it's kind of like just a completeness check. Once everything's is wrapped up, and just make sure that you have everything, that there's no surprises.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. So talk a little bit about open houses or searching for homes. Did you do a lot of open houses or go to a lot of different things?
We did just a handful, right?
Just one, I think.
So that wasn't a big thing for you, open houses, I see.
It's just more like we wanted, and then we had the right agent to help us along the way. So then we narrowed down our searches to see only the houses that matched what we were looking for. And then after that, it was just falling in love with one.
Yeah.
So your process wasn't, I'm looking for all the different houses. Your process was figure out what I want, and then go find the agent.
Yeah,
and
or
then
finding
go find
the house. Yeah, finding the house
Okay.
that we want, right? So first we find out what we want, the must-haves that we have. We look at houses, and the agent, and get the agent as well, and then have the agent show us the houses, and then you kind of see how your ideas of what you want materialize into the house, because there's certain things like
How
you
many
taught us.
agents did you talk to, or did you look
Like
through?
3, including you.
Me, just one.
You let her do all the work on that.
She
So
looked
three.
for,
Did you
right,
find
agent.
online strictly, or from friends and family?
It's more just from looking at Zillow, and
Okay.
if I had found the house that I wanted, and it was related to this agent, then I just put in my information.
So how did you choose? How did you cut the other agents out or select us? How did you end up doing that?
It's really just about feeling, I would say.
Okay.
Like just the comfort that you get, and me, I'm all about communication, and part of communication is really listening, right? So if you had somebody that was willing to listen to you and not just kind of when you that's the danger of being an expert too, is you're sometimes you say things too much that might not be relevant to somebody. And I think just being able to listen kind of takes what information that you have and kind of makes it relevant to somebody. And really all I really was looking for is for somebody to listen for
That's
what
a
I
good
want.
point.
Yeah.
What would you advise sellers? Were you surprised by the houses when you went in, of any condition or the looks, or how to see them, or anything like that?
Some of them are definitely really well prepped for somebody to, because it's your fresh set of eyes.
Yeah.
So you have things when you're selling your house where you're just used to seeing your house and then it looks fine, but when you have somebody brand new looking at a house, then they have a different perspective, which is usually the real perspective.
Right.
Or perspective on reality. So there's some houses that you knew that they had a really good agent, and they made them clean up the kitchen. It was pink and clean. Those floors were like shiny.
But does that really matter?
Seamless.
Did you care if the wallpaper was old
absolutely.
or?
Of course,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Why?
Well, it just it makes you. I think it even makes you wanna buy the house for a little more money.
Yeah.
Anyway,
When it's done.
If it's not so much run down, but not well maintained.
Right,
Because you're gonna try to get a better price.
It gives you, and at the same time, when it reflects on how you're, at least for me, it reflects on how you treat the house, right? Is that if I'm seeing a really good house, the quality of the house, that it's not run down, it's being maintained, then it gives me a sense, or it looks like it's being maintained.
You think it's being maintained all the time.
but you get,
Right.
at least for that moment.
Yes, in time.
But at least you get a sense that that they cared enough to actually put some money into the house and care about who's going to go into it, or who sees it. And that, I think, is a good sign of it could just be the way it's marketed, but
even as simple, like for this house, I forgot about the other houses, but we had to put little things to cover our shoes, so that tells you that they want to keep the house clean. And it's not, it's still all in the details, right? But just that fact, that means that they do maintain the house and they want to make sure that it's not messed up by a bunch of buyers looking at the houses. So I like that level of detail. And I don't know if we got that from everyone.
Well, we got it from that one guy who's like, remember, he was like, and it's probably much better when the owners are not there.
Oh, that's another.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to meet the owners.
You don't want to meet the owners because then sometimes
it's awkward.
It's awkward, and then sometimes like we went to that one where the guy was there. Remember?
That's right. We only said 5 minutes, not even.
Yeah.
Because we feel like we're being watched.
And
we're interrupting,
and then you
watching
kind of
baseball or something.
and just eating. So it's much better that you don't see the home.
It doesn't even matter if you kind of like the house because it kind of threw you off completely.
Oh yeah. It's like automatically you're going to buy this one.
Yeah.
I remember that house too.
Yeah.
Now, were you surprised about attorney review? That a house is really not yours until you're under contract and you finish the process. Because even when you're looking at this, you're trying to kick someone else out of attorney review or something.
Right.
So that whole process, were you aware of that before you started?
I bought a house before, so I knew that. You have like 3 days before, and then you have to close. But so I was aware of the process.
But it's a minimum. It can be 3 days, but it can go for weeks or whatever. So it really depends on the attorney and the deal. But so did you feel comfortable? So you were comfortable because you already been through that. So did that surprise you at all, or?
I took it as is. I'm pretty much like,
Easy
this is part of the process. This is part of the process. I think part of it is just as you go through the process, if there's something that you don't understand, always ask. Because the more information that you have, the more you can spat out more questions, and the more aware you are about what's going on, just being involved in the process.
Why do you think you found your house so quickly? Because what you started out with and then ended up with was a little bit.
We went from like 350 to
whatever the number.
is.
Well, we had, I think we knew what we wanted, but at the same time we didn't know the market.
Yeah,
so that's where
how it materializes into.
You decide initially which homes you're going to go for.
We were really quick, so we can talk about that because we knew what we wanted. we had thought about it before we even started looking.
So we had our must-haves.
Because this was the second week.
Yeah. So we started, okay, so maybe our range as far as dollar-wise may have changed, and that was just because of our lack of understanding of really specifically the house that we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We know we wanted to have a room for a library, a room for a pool table, and that's really it, right?
Powder room.
A powder room. So we had our must-haves, but we weren't really understanding, the type of house that would get us what we wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we got into more houses, after 5 houses, we understood, all right, well, if this is what we want, this is the price that we're going to have, and is it acceptable for us, the price? And then we just chose to kind of narrow it down. So, and that took pretty easy. I mean, it started from what we really wanted, and just kind of finding the house that gave us.
How did you find the house? Did you look online a lot, or did you go by word of mouth? How did you start your searching of the house?
We were looking for an agent.
Yeah.
So you looked for an agent first instead of a house.
Did you look at? We looked at houses, but I think we started looking for somebody to help us out.
So how did you find an agent?
Well, I called. I looked at. I think I looked at Zillow, and then if you're interested in a house, I think you're supposed to give us the information.
Yeah.
Right. So I had one real estate agent that called me, and she said, what do you want? And I said, it's not really important to me specifically that. The funding, I guess, but more of finding the right house.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, I won't, it was more like there's certain steps that you need to go through.
You have to be pre-qualified first.
Right, so there's certain things you need to go through in order for you to kind of work with me. That's kind of the way she had put it, right?
Ooh.
Number one is getting the pre-qual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So number one is getting the qualification from the bank. Blah blah blah. And I said, well, okay, I know we can get that, but I just want kind of, I want to see houses right now, kind of get an idea. So I think she didn't want to spend her time looking for a house that we might not be able to afford.
Okay.
And it's granted, it's understandable. But I think just knowing us, I just needed somebody to kind of like what you did, is just listen, ask me where I wanted to be, where I was in the process, exactly what is it that I wanted, and then the first thing you did was show me houses, and that's really what I wanted to begin with, is just show us the house, we'll find a way to get that house.
Right.
And I know that we can get it, it's not necessarily that there was a big challenge for that, it's just finding the house that we want.
Yeah. I think what was great is you listen to us.
Yeah.
So that's like the number one quality that you need to find in an agent. That they are not trying to push something to you. They just listen to what you're looking for. And because we had a good idea, and we had this is must have and nice to have.
Yeah.
But you were there to point us in the right direction, you and your husband, and I think it was amazing that we found so quickly.
Yeah.
It was really the second weekend.
Like, that's the house.
I think we only saw maybe 12 houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one was it.
Yeah.
It felt at home right away.
Yeah. So I mean, gradually as we go through walk through each house, you kind of understood, all right. And we understood as well, it's kind of like a learning process for us as well, what we didn't like, what we liked, because now we're really looking at the details of the layout of the house, what's a good layout.
Even the quality.
of let's say, just the way the whole setup is done.
Were you surprised by what you did not know about the buying process before you started, or was it what you expected?
I didn't have expectations.
Yeah, I think it was more paperwork, because I had bought a house 10 years ago. It was so much easier. And now I had to prove that a lot of different things. I think I'd have to give pay stubs 2 days before we closed, just to make sure I was still employed.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a lot more paperwork, and I guess it would be nice to know ahead of time. I mean, we're pretty organized, so we were okay, but I had to send so many tax returns and pay stubs and proof of employment, and I forgot what, but there was a long list of things that we had to submit.
Yeah, so I guess.
And that knowing that ahead of time and making sure you have all that paperwork in order so you can close quickly, that was that's definitely something that.
Yeah. That
So
you
were
like to know.
Need to know. I mean, again,
But we're organized.
We're
So.
really
Yeah,
organized.
you guys are.
We're
Which is good. Which is good. Good.
Yeah, so we're pretty organized. It was fairly easy.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're if you were a first-time home buyer and don't really know kind of the work that gets into it as far as paperwork that gets into it, then getting your house in order would be a good thing to say. Yeah.
So, did you feel that you used all these different websites a lot, or were you into watching different TV shows before, or you didn't really need any of that stuff too much?
To select
the house.
To select houses, or to learn about looking for houses. Because some people say, "Oh, I lived on HGTV," or I stayed on that.
Well, it's kind of, so we're accountants, so we specialize in something, right? So we really put a lot of value in knowing that the person that we work with is competent, and we trust that person to know what they know. So we trust them to know more than we know. So I'm not going to, impose on you something that I think you should know. So that's not something that we do. It's kind of more like we trust you because we understand that you're capable of giving us the right information. So, to just go by HGTV, those are questions to ask, I guess, but it's really choosing the right people to work with and trusting those people to make the right decisions for you, or just guiding you. I think that's really the key to everything.
So one key component in buying a house is using an attorney. And also going through home inspections and, the whole, like you said, the mortgage process. What would you tell somebody as far as, the whole attorney communication or the whole home inspection that has never done this before? What should they know about that?
I think what was good for us is we actually were there for the inspection, so we actually walked us around the entire house and we went everywhere, inside, outside, and I learned so much from that. Because I guess I don't watch enough shows on TV. In terms of things we have to worry about, things that need to be fixed by the seller, but also going forward is just making sure we maintain certain things and we watch for other things. So that was really helpful, and I'd say you have to be involved in the inspection process, making sure that you know the house you're about to buy, not just the issues that you may need to negotiate before you close, but also going forward is knowing what to do with we have like shingles outside and you have to replace
that's
those
something you're
or
gonna have to
paint them
replace
every
later.
5 years. So we took really good notes, and that's helping us out as homeowners. The attorney review was great. It was very easy to communicate with our attorney.
I didn't even remember
email.
it.
She used email, which I loved, because I am tough to get in touch with. But she was very, I don't know, again, it's what you said is that we're professionals, so we place trust in the team that is helping us buy a house. So the process was fairly easy, and she was good at explaining everything.
And I think
agreement,
the contract. And then having that feedback session after each house visit, I think helps, because then you really get a chance to see how those needs, how those wants materialize into a house.
Because I remember we did the first weekend with Bob, and then we told him which house we really liked, except in a different neighborhood.
And that's what we said.
Okay.
Oh, that's not what you want then.
That quality of house, then not in and then it would be bigger yard.
Yeah,
it's a little tiny little yard.
It's like, okay.
And then the next weekend we found it.
And we found it.
Right? Because I think it helps you too to know, okay, you're not gonna like this, or you're gonna like that. All the houses we saw were nice, but this one was the one.
So I guess that goes back to listening.
Yeah,
like you're
absolutely.
saying.
Because anybody can can spot out. Like anybody is. If you've been doing this a long time,
anybody
you
can show
always
you
be
a
an
house.
expert. Yeah, anybody can show you a house.
But not everybody can listen to you.
Yeah, and frankly, like if I did, like I saw this house on Zillow, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I passed on it. Really, that's what I did. I passed on it.
How could that be?
I don't know. But the carpet was like blue before, and it was like whatever, so it didn't look nice. So I looked at it, I'm like, oh, okay, pass on it, right?
And that was a section over here too, which is not as nice.
Yeah, which was not as nice. So ours is better, of course.
Yeah.
We made it our own.
Yeah. So you know, it's just kind of making sure that.
Literally, this house was like check. Like everything on our list was check, and then on top of that, we had the chef's kitchen, and I don't know if we said a 2-car garage, but that was nice. And this room was fantastic.
Now let me ask you though, you mentioned about the agent who said, you know, this is the way I do business and you need the pre-qual, pre-approval, whatever. But at the same time you understood why she was saying that to see if you're able to buy.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend to a real estate agent who is, okay, I need to make sure the buyer is able before I take them out to building that relationship that I don't lose a buyer?
You had a video that I remember I watched on YouTube with the whole process, which was really good because there's a lot of different
the
things.
steps to purchasing, That's
right. But I don't think we got the video after we spoke with you. But it's you know, I guess listening first so you get a client, but then going through the process and explaining the process, because I mean, do you need a pre-qual right away?
Yeah.
Like after you say hello, I need your pre-qual.
Right.
You're not so a little propped.
And that's why you extra out. She was just so cold.
It's like at first, let me tell you what I want first, okay? Because that's really why people want to talk to other people. It's because, especially when you're buying a house, is because when you buy a house, it's not like, oh, let me just buy a house. It's not like, let's go to the mall, you know?
Right.
It's you have a thought in your head, what you want to do, what you want to have. And then it's kind of, you want to say that out to your realtor, to your real estate agent, and you want to be able to say that. But when all of a sudden it's like, well, let me just tell you what I want first, and then we can work on how you want it. So I think if she had listened to me first, as opposed to saying, well, what are you in the process right now? You know, like it's very something. It's like, well, okay, I can tell you where I am in the process. I'm looking for something. I mean, that's why I called you, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you gotten this? Have you gotten that? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can worry about that later.
Right.
Because somebody might not be as aware of their financials, I guess, as much as most people.
Yeah.
Like there might be a surprise.
Your accountant, you do.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? And that's fine. I can understand that. But like, I just having that, the first question to ask would be, all right, well, you tell me where you are in the process, and then what is it that you want, and proposing, oh, let me show you these houses. This is exactly what we did. What's more important to them as of the moment, and then kind of guide them through and see where they're missing.
And we still got our pre-qual.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, you did.
You were approved for 1 million.
Now, do you remember why you didn't like the third agent?
I don't know. I just didn't. No.
Well, it didn't click. Okay.
It must be just like responsiveness, or just didn't connect, or So it was more like.
Yes, funny because I didn't remember the third agent you spoke to.
No.
The very first one that didn't listen. Oh, I heard about that.
I dare she.
Believe that she didn't listen to me. and it's funny because you're technically in sales, so first quality of a good salesperson is listening.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's some people that like kind of have an idea of which market or which people that they want to work with, you know? Like I only work with people with this amount of income because I know that they can whatever, or so they want to know that information beforehand, before they can really start working with them, and that's their process for vetting out who they will want to work with. I can understand that. But in essence, when you're talking about customer service, I guess it's really responsiveness and what listening. Listening.
A lot of buyers like to look online for a long time, look at hundreds of houses and check all those out. do you have an opinion on doing that first instead of getting an agent first, or you thought getting an agent kind of saves you time from all that other stuff?
I think it saves you time because the house on the internet is not always a house that you're gonna see.
Yeah.
You can see how it can be photoshopped.
Yeah.
It can be,
Oh my
it can be
gosh.
photoshopped. You can only see the best part of the house. So and really like this house, you said it didn't. I mean,
It didn't appeal to
it
me.
didn't appeal to you. But once we walked in, that's when you know you're going to be home. So I'd say
That's funny.
you can look at things online, but you need to eventually walk into the house
and visualize kind of where things are going to be.
Yeah.
Just really get a feel for.
Because so many people cross out homes online. Their first showing is online, and they might really have missed an ideal house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it. You've probably seen it before from showing it to different people, right? And I think having that perspective to say, you walk through one house, you go through one house, you walk through one house, and then getting that feedback from us, and then saying, oh, okay, I know, I have an idea of what you want. And
Surprising that you X this house out, but as we were going around, this was the house you were describing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it because it had the picture of the sunken living room.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that looks like
my favorite piece.
That looks like it's old. That looks like it's old. So
You can change that.
Any last words? Any last thoughts? You think we covered everything?
I think we covered everything.
yeah. And thank you, Bev.
Yeah. Thanks so much. You were awesome. Yeah.
Yay. Thanks. We're done.